Good day, guys. Thanks for visiting Richard's Corner. My name is Richard, and this is a special vlog entry that I wanted to make a sort of a discussion about my thrifty collecting. Today I went to the Mulvey flea market with the boys, and we spent some of their Christmas money, which is awesome. So I had a little trouble with them spending money on individual things versus us going to Value Village and finding grab bags for certain prices and whatnot. So I wanted to do a vlog entry today that's sort of inspired by this trip to Mulvey Flea Market because I, even myself, went and bought an individual figure from somebody as well as a couple of grab bags from somebody. Then I didn't realize that, this lady was selling grab bags as well. But as I was doing my notes for this particular vlog entry, I never realized just how much of a thought process went into me shopping when I do my thrifty collecting. And then all you guys see on the videos is me revealing what I find. But a lot of thought goes into what I buy because I don't just buy anything. It has to appeal to my taste, and it's got to appeal to my collection and such, right? I don't necessarily look for flipping value like some other people that go to thrift stores do. Even people that are running flea market booths, they go to thrift stores with the intention of flipping figures for even only for a couple of bucks or more, depending on what they find, right? So I have a few notes here that I wanted to go over and share with you the idea of paying for grab bags versus for paying like individuals. So why don't we start with, the grab bag idea, okay? So grab bags I'm a big fan of because you pay, $2 or $3 for a grab bag, and if you divide it by the cost of the actual number of figures inside of a bag, that's about the approximate cost per figure. Now, that's good and all, but I also have to keep in mind that not all the figures are sometimes things that I want to buy. In fact, some of the grab bags have maybe one or two figures that I really want and a few others that I really need to just donate. So those ones that don't count don't obviously go into the number of figures that I'm dividing my cost by, right? So you really do have to put a little bit of thought into the grab bag itself. Like, you have to sort of see what's in it because usually the grab bags are plastic, clear plastic. So this is a great example here. This particular bag that I found at Mulvey today has this awesome Dragon Ball figure in there, but it's also coupled with three farm-like animals. So I paid a couple of bucks for that bag, but essentially I paid only a couple bucks for that one figure because the other the other three figures, they don't factor into my per cost because those are not figures that would really appeal to me. But I had to get that grab bag because I really wanted that one figure, right? This particular other bag here has, this bag over here has a couple of figures or things that I really want. Boba Fett, I've got a Snoopy figure here, I've got a Winnie the Pooh, I've also got a Flintstones, and then I've got an incomplete Lightning McQueen, which wouldn't count in the cost. So that's another example where most of the grab bag has the value that I want as far as a collector as for me, but you don't include all of it, right? So if 3 out of the 4, are good keepers for me, and I pay $2, then it'd be 2 divided by the 3 figures that I'm probably going to keep. If it was all 4 of them, then that's even better, right? So good grab bag tip for all thrifty collectors: if you are going to grab a grab bag, don't just get it because it's cheap. Get it because there are more figures in there than not that you really want to get. Getting it just because it's cheap is not necessarily a good idea, and I'll get into that later. But so as far as my notes go here, best value is obviously grab bags because, I mean, you will spend maybe, between 30 to 50 cents a figure, depending on how big the grab bag is and how much it costs and how many keepers there are in that bag, right? But what about the other side of the collecting coin? What about going to a flea market and going to a booth where they've obviously gone to a thrift store and pieced everything out? So, I got this awesome Red Tornado figure from one lady that obviously went through, I think, Salvation Army, because I recognized the label from the grab bag that she bought. But she had pieced all these out, and she was selling this individual figure. She sold to me for $2.50. Actually, she was originally asking $4, and I hummed and hawed about it because $4 for one figure is really close to retail. Well, not really. It's about 50% off retail. Retail is about $8 to $10 per figure, and she wanted $4, but she actually gave it to me for $2.50 because she gave the boys a deal, so she gave me a deal too, which I really super appreciate. But when do I decide that, is it worth buying the individual versus buying a grab bag or taking my chances with grab bags? I have to say that there is value in it, but the pricing is often higher per figure. Obviously, she wanted $4 that figure. She gave it to me for $2.50. Lucky me. I probably wouldn't want to pay more than $3 for a figure that's being flipped, because that grab bag she got from Salvation Army or whatever, it probably cost her $3 or $4, maybe 5 or 6. But I mean, that one figure, if she had sold it at her asking price, it would have almost paid for that whole bundle of other things. And she had a whole bunch of stuff that she was also piecing out and separating out. And she has all these beautiful bins. Well, not beautiful, but she's got all these bins full of stuff, and they're all sorted by themes, right? So there's dinosaurs and Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh and Star Wars and Marvel. She has it all sorted out. So for her time to sort things out, for her effort to find these things, that's what justifies her cost. But for that particular vendor, I won't say who she is, but that vendor, she isn't really gouging anyone for anything, actually. Like $3 or $4 for a figure is actually fairly reasonable in a collector's world. Where more big collector prices would be about $10 or $20 a figure for something of the 3¼ or 3¾ inch variety, right? So I think I walked out ahead, even just based on that. But yeah, sometimes the seller will also not be knowledgeable. I mean, she wasn't necessarily knowledgeable. If she was, she would probably been asking for more money, and so sometimes it's good to not take advantage. But I mean, like, obviously she's selling not to make money. She's just selling to sort of fuel like a thrifty collector's kind of thing. And it's not altogether thrifty. I mean, she was asking $4 originally. She was going to give me a deal if I bought lots. And she did give me a deal. And I'm very happy for that. But, so I've gone to other booths where they're asking same figures. It'll be like $5 a figure, 3 for 10. And they won't budge on that price because, well, these are awesome figures. It's like, well, yeah, they are. But I mean, pricing is really subjective, and there's no constant or hard rule about what they should ask for them. They're asking what they think it's worth, right? Doesn't necessarily mean they'll get what they think it's worth, but it's subjective. So, is there a place for it? Yeah, of course. When you do a grab bag style hauling like I do, you get what you get. You really do just get what you get. I mean, you can't get upset about it. That's as the saying goes, because you're really taking a chance on what people are donating, right? And it's never the same place twice. And sometimes if you let a grab bag go and you don't pick it up until very soon after, it's often going to be picked up by someone else right away. So, there is some sort of value to buying individual pieces versus buying a grab bag, even though the grab bag is probably the best value. If it's going to increase your personal worth of the collection, and by that I mean it expands on pieces that you really want, right? Like, I mean, I don't have a Red Tornado DC figure, right? I mean, I have quite a few other ones that are quite common to find at Value Village, but I've never seen that one. So paying for a couple bucks for that, yeah, I think that's worth it. But I mean, like, if I see like collector's prices for some of these figures, I'm not going to pay them. I'm sorry, I'm not going to pay $12 for an open figure. And some people were asking that for similar figures at the market. So I mean, I won't slam them for it, but I won't insult them by lowballing them either, right? So it's what they think it's worth, and they have to pay their rent on the booth. So I mean, I can't argue their pricing. And although there is some haggling room at flea markets and stuff like that, quite often when you buy individual pieces, they are going to be about what you're going to pay for them. Like, they're priced about what you're going to pay for them, maybe a couple dollars cheaper. And there are ways around that, I guess. Like, I want to share that with you as well. So how do I maximize the chance of trying to find something for cheap? That, being a thrifty collector, I mean, like, I'm on a budget. I want to pay as little as possible, but I also don't want to insult the person that's selling it, right? So if somebody's asking $50 for a figure and I'm offering them $5, that's just not going to fly. So don't try it. Don't lowball people to the point of being ridiculous, and treat it like you're doing them a favor by lowballing them. It's insulting. It really is. I mean, a lot of people live and die by that rule. They want to pay as little as possible, so they're going to force you to pay, but and then walk away angry because the vendor obviously says, well, no, it's not worth that. It's worth more, and that's what I'm pricing it at. So I mean, if they're not going to budge on price, if you're trying to haggle, don't insult them. They're trying to pay, their costs for one, buying it, two, one, finding it, two, buying it, and three, the cost of their overhead for their booth. So, I mean, their cost is more justified than me just, collecting, and putting it up for a cheap turnaround later in my overflow. I'm not here to make money. I want to sort of get a little bit of a return on it so that I can buy more stuff for more hauls. That's what I do. So, but I mean, like when it comes to thrifty collecting, don't try lowballing people that are obviously proud of what they found, but it's just what they think it's worth, right? I mean, again, they may not necessarily get it, but if you do want to maximize a little bit of discount from a vendor like that that's selling it piece by piece, if you can find a few that you really want to buy, they may give you a deal because they're buying multiples, and that's easier to haggle on versus buying one piece that still, again, I've heard some horror stories of people trying to lowball people, 70% of their asking price, and it's just really insulting. It's like, no, really. So if you're a lowballer, don't be offended. I'm just saying that some people are not going to go buy it, not going to go for your deal just because you happen to be there with money in hand, and it's a lot less than they would be expecting. So try to, honor their pricing, maybe knock it down a couple bucks if you can, but I mean, you have to sort of do something for them to make it worth their while so that it's also a good bargain for yourself. Also, when it comes to thrift stores and flea markets or whatever, you have to go often and you have to go early. That's a really simple rule. It's really common sense. All the hardcore shoppers are usually the ones that are trying to flip these things. They go early. They go out first thing in the mornings, and when thrift stores are opening, new stock is just being thrown out, and they're snatching up things, So even for myself as a YouTuber, I want to try to find as much to haul and reveal on my channel as possible without rooting through the leftovers, so to speak. So I maximize my chances by trying to go to some of my favorite value villages early. They open at 9 a.m. On Fridays. That's what I'll try to do if I have the means and I haven't, I have a little bit of extra money to do so, and I need some content for the channel. I'll go out and do my first thing in the morning kind of run. And that's probably the best time. But I don't know if you know this, but at Value Villages, they also keep replenishing stuff as things get sold, right? So quite often you might find, like during the middle of the day, like just after lunch, around 1 or 2 o'clock, there are people restocking those toy shelves or restocking the clothing shelves and what have you, right? As they go through their stock in the back, as they're receiving it, they will be putting it out as soon as it's processed, right? So if it's processing clean enough to put out right away, they will put it out right away. So if you go to thrift stores often, you sort of will know the patterns that they put stuff out. So it's another way to sort of maximize your return when you visit a thrift store or even a flea market. Just sort of going either early or going at times where you know that they're probably going to be putting some new stuff out, whether it's a certain day of the week or a certain time of day. Make sure you visit on those certain days. And the last thing I want to share with you is something that another thrifty shopper online called editing. And I often joke with the boys that it's a Pikachu. You have to pick and choose what you want, because usually there's so much cool stuff that you want to buy, and there's just either so little room for it or you just don't have the money for it, right? Like if you're on a budget, that's what you're going to spend. You have to pick and choose. What are you going to get? What do you really want versus, well, I want it because it's a good deal, right? And again, you have to sort of pick and choose what you're going to buy. It's really easy to get caught on that slippery slope that if it's cheap, you should get it. It's not always a good idea. And especially as a collector, it's never a good idea because you only have a finite amount of space. I don't care if you have a 2,000 square foot house, a 4,000 square foot house, or a 500 square foot apartment. It's like you have a certain amount of space for your collectibles, and wives and or girlfriends or boyfriends or what have you will have a say in that, right? So I have a finite amount of space and a budget for my collecting, and I don't sacrifice my bills or responsibilities outside of my, I have my fixed means for my collecting, and once I'm done that, then I'm done for the week. So you have to edit. You have to sort of pick and choose when you're out there, especially when I see multiple grab bags at Value Village. It's like, well, I can't afford $70 worth of stuff. I only have 40. It's like, well, what do I pick and choose? And well, there's a lot of great keepers that I've put back on the shelf because I just can't afford to get it all. But I pick the ones that really mean or really speak to me. So, I mean, it may seem like common sense, but in the heat of your shopping moment, sometimes it just doesn't come to you that you've really got to, it really has to speak to you before you pick it up. It really has to speak to you before you put it in the checkout line and buy that item. So don't go crazy just because it's cheap. You have to make sure that it actually speaks to you, because otherwise it's just clutter that doesn't really speak or add personal value to your collection. And when I call value, I don't mean value in money. I mean value aesthetically. I mean value like, oh, this is cool for me. It makes me happy when I see these neat figures all put in a row or whatever, right? I mean, like it's more personal value, like just emotionally, versus any monetary value. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed the thoughts that I had on this. It really was tugging at my heart to sort of share the thought that saying, hey, you know what, grab bags versus individual pricing. What do you guys go for? Leave comments below, please. What do you guys prefer? Do you guys prefer getting the grab bags and getting things really cheap? Or do you think there's a place for the collector's pricing or individual pricing, and you're willing to pay because they found that for you? They're pricing it out according to their effort and how much they think it's worth. Do you think that's what's worth it? I mean, I'd love to see your comments below. But anyway, regardless of how you shop, in the end, we are collectors, and we're here to just sort of fuel our own passions, our own geek, so to speak. And I hope that your hunts are successful no matter what. So this is Richard from Richard's Corner signing off for now. I wish you happy hunting and happy collecting, and I hope that all of your finds, whether they're thrifty or otherwise, are equally awesome. Please stay tuned for the next video. I hope that you can hit like and or subscribe so that you know what is new and happening here on my channel. Please hit that little bell icon next to the subscribe button. It's a notification device that says, hey, Richard's Corner has uploaded something brand new. So if you want your notification so you know you're right up to date, please hit that bell as well. I so appreciate it. I appreciate your visit today, guys. I hope that you're having an awesome weekend, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for visiting Richard's Corner, guys.